What's going on, guys? This is Miasin. So this is the deck list that I've used at YCS Pasadena. I got 36th place, which is technically a score that could have gotten me in the top 32. I went 9-2, so I lost round 1, and then I won 8 rounds in a row, getting me to an 8-1 record at the end of day 1, which I think got me like to 28th place or something. And then I lost round 10 to Cody Angeloff, who ended up getting 2nd place after Swiss. And then finally I won the last round, but it still wasn't enough because apparently in these big-ass events of like 1,726 players, if you lose round 1 and the round 1 opponent that you lost to doesn't really end up doing too well, unfortunately you're gonna have really bad tiebreakers and you're not gonna make it. So yes, just because I lost too early, I was not able to top the YCS. Very unfortunate, because some people were like 7-2 and then they won twice in a row on day 2 and they were able to top. I was not that lucky. But anyways, before this video starts, make sure you like and subscribe. Check me out on Twitch and Instagram, and now let's jump right into it. Obviously, you're gonna start with the main deck because, yeah, that's what people usually do, and I don't really have, like, a freaking tripod on me or something, so I'm using, like, my right hand to, like, hold the camera and everything. This is so bait, but whatever, gotta do what you gotta do. So for the Ishizu monsters, I'm obviously playing Triple Keldo. This doesn't really deserve, like, an explanation. This one searches a monster, any Ishizu monster, or technically any Ishizu card, so that you can even search, like, the trap cards with this card, but obviously we're not really trying to play those, so we're only searching monsters, and this is a Grave Shuffler, so this is a mandatory 3 of, even if it's a vanilla, just like Mudora. Mudora doesn't really do anything outside of like summoning itself. It does have a little bit more attack, 1500 attack, which doesn't really matter that much. It matters sometimes against, let's say, the Wind Bear statue with the Simorgh Field Spell. That's how I was able to lose one game, because I didn't read the freaking Simorgh Field Spell, because I'm stupid, okay? I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player, I can't read. But yeah, this would have been able to jump over it, but not the Keldo. And yeah, this doesn't really have an effect because you're not really playing Gravekeeper's Trap, but the Graveyard effect is so broken that you're still trying to play 3. Now, Kelbeck is a very interesting card. You're still trying to play 3 because obviously it's broken against every non-Ishizu tier deck, but the really nice thing about the card is that it actually is a hand trap, so whenever your opponent like mills a card, or actually whenever a card is sent from your opponent's hand or deck to the grave, you can target one special summon monster your opponent controls, bounce it back to the hand, and summon the Kelbeck from your hand. So this can be an extender on your own turn, or a hand trap on your opponent's turn, and this could actually deal with Dweller if your opponent Dwellers way too early. So this card is actually pretty nice in the mirror match. The one card that, even though it mails, you're not really trying to side it out against the deck. And I'm playing 2 Agido, not 3 and not 1. In hindsight, maybe there is a world in which I could have played 1 Agido, but whatever. I mean, this is still... I still need a little bit more testing with this deck, because this was like right as soon as we got Magnificent Maven, so pretty aggressive. We didn't really have like any time at all. So yeah, I wasn't really feeling 100% sure about this ratio. And of course, I'm playing a lot of Ishizu monsters, so I was like, you know what, might as well play Herald of Orange Light. I guess this is one of the reasons why I wanted to play 2 Agido, not 3, not 1, because I wanted the Agido to be live as often as possible. Well, sorry, I wanted the Herald of Orange Light to be live as often as possible, so I wanted to play a little more fairy monsters, and I didn't want to, like, just draw a bunch of Agidos that did nothing in the mirror match. So yeah, Herald of Orange Light was pretty good. You can negate like Dimension Shifter with this card, or like cards that you would usually lose to. You can negate Bisted monsters, which is probably the best application for Orange Light in the mirror match. Well, at least if you're going first. If you're going second, you can hold it for Dweller, but they're usually searching Crime, and that's like checkmate. So you're not really winning through Crime Dweller the majority of the time. And for the Tier Elements monsters, this is very, very standard. Triple Shaylin, Triple Hafinis, and then Triple Meru. And finally, the one monster that I guess is a little more up in the air is Reinoheart. Some people play 2, I actually play 3. The card's obviously really nice because it is a guaranteed, but the issue is that if your opponent has a Bisted monster and all you really have is Reinoheart, the monster that you send is obviously going to get stopped. Whereas with Meru, you can technically send like 2 Bisted monsters, 2 Tier Elements monsters and like a Scream or a Trap, which gets you a lot of value. So if you're feeling lucky, Meru is probably the best way to play through hand traps, well, at least the Bisteds, whereas Reinoheart is just like a guaranteed, but it can also mean that you're guaranteed to lose to like 1 hand trap, and that's the inconvenience, I want to say, with this card. Now, for the spell cards that are also super obvious, 4 field spells as well as instant fusion. Sorry if they're all freaking all over the place. But yeah, obviously you're always trying to see this card. I'm really bad at seeing this card, by the way. I never draw it, and instant fusion even less. It's like usually one-ofs, they're supposed to be glued to your hand. You see that you're supposed to be like that, but no, I never see freaking instant fusion. I'm so bad at this game. My opponents, though, they always draw it. But yeah, very powerful cards, obviously. There is a world in which you could have played like Mystic Mine with the terraforming, but whatever, who cares. And for the other spell cards, 1 Scream, 1 Heartbeats. In hindsight, maybe I should have played like 2 to 3 Screams. This card's pretty nice. Milling 3 on your own turn and on your opponent's turn is nice. Milling this card to search a trap card is also nice. It's just that it's not necessarily a starter on its own. Like if you break and you have Scream, you're still not doing jack. And Heartbeats is an out to Mystic Mine, and it's also good to mill because you can recycle back your trap cards. So I actually really like Heartbeats. It was always good for me, but I sided out a lot in like Ishizu tier mirror match if I'm going second. If I'm going first, I keep it in because I don't want to lose to like Mystic Mine BS. So yeah. And then 1 triple tactic talents. If you mill it, your opponent knows that you play it, so you know, might play around it and might actually do some worse plays. So it's a lot of good psychological pressure. I guess same thing with Super Poly, but Super Poly actually sucks. So yeah, never again. Literally never putting this card in my deck list ever. This card just isn't good at all. It really doesn't cover anything because people are no longer stupid. They're no longer ending on Lulu Karos and Dweller, because that was the good old days, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could actually do it on draw phase, so even if they have the crime, they can't respond to the Super Poly. So that's the reason why I had this card, because I knew for a fact that people were on Bisted Monsters instead of Super Poly, and if you mill a Magnemut, or if your opponent makes you mill a Magnemut, and they can go dark, revive back your Magnemut to search their Druid Worm, I didn't want that to happen, so that's the reason why I didn't main deck any Bisted Monsters, just because I was scared of that scenario. But in hindsight, maybe I did the incorrect approach. Maybe I was a little too conservative, and Super Poly, I think I just kind of considered or just assumed that people would like play into it because they wouldn't expect it. But no, even if nobody plays Super Poly, they're still playing around Super Poly by not ending on Lulu Karos. And finally, for the trap cards, double Solic and 1 crime. The crime always comes up. Like, I really don't understand people who manage to go far in the tournament without crime. And now for the extra deck, obviously double Kid Kalos in case like one of them gets banished or something. At least you have like a backup plan. And 1 Lulu Karos and 1 Kaleido Heart. Honestly, Lulu Karos just sucks, man. I don't know if it's just me, but I almost never summon this card anymore. It still has some nice applications, but in like the Ishizu tier mirror match, it's like, it negates like the tier effects in the grave. It's not bad, but like it doesn't deal well with chain blocking. So yeah, Kaleido Heart on the other hand is insanely broken. I love the card. And 1 Garura, 1 Mudragon. If you're main decking the Bisted monsters, you can actually legitimately summon the Mudragon, because right now I'm not playing any dark monsters that aren't the tier element, so I can't make Mudragon. I can make Garura, obviously, either with Super Poly or with the actual tier effects, and Garura is like usually the better one because you draw 1 card, but Mudragon is level 4, so you can make Dweller with that card. So that's a really nice thing about the Mudragon of the Swamp. And now for the other fusion, the Protoplan Dragos Tapelia, that you're never really trying to summon on your own turn, always on your opponent's turn. Otherwise, your tier effects will just not really do anything. And I guess that's another thing about Kid Kalos. Lulu Karos, I just only summon it on my opponent's turn. And for the Xyz monsters, Dweller, Baguska, Redoer, and Zeus. Some people are dumb and they're not playing Zeus, man. This card's broken. In the mirror match, the way you're breaking the board is you go Dweller and then Zeus, so like they don't float on anything. That's just insane. And then Redoer is like how you unbrick when your Haffiness effect has been used and you still have like a Shilin on the field with like Reno Heart. You make Redoer, then you detach, you trigger Shilin, and then you go for Kid Kalos and stuff like that, so that's really cool. And the Baguska is insane when you get shifted. You just make Baguska pass and you win the game. And even in the mirror match, it can be pretty decent. And for the final monsters, the Link monsters, the ones that always come up are Dark, Sprint, and Elf. So Dark is insane in the mirror match. You can revive back at Kalos or Bested Magnemut or even Meru. So you can get your engine started off of just like any Dark monster with anything else. And then the Sprint is insane because it guarantees you a Meru mail so that you can you know, pop off when your opponent just keeps stopping every one of your plays. You just go like, link any 2 monsters into Dark and then revive back a monster, make the Sprint, send the Meru, make Kid Kalos, and just explode. And then the Elf is a pretty nice card just because like the monsters that are being targeted cannot be targeted by card effects, so that's just like insane. And the monster that never came up is Borlo the Dragon, because this is only really there to like out the the Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax that is made with IP Masquerena, but nobody is playing that because nobody's playing Splight. Alright, so for the side deck, I'm playing triple Magnamut as well as one Druid Worm. This is really nice, obviously, in the mirror match, whether we're going first or second. I always sided this in. Should have actually been in my main deck, though, in hindsight. And for the going first cards, or technically also going second for the Lancia, triple Sanctum and then Scythe and Lancia. So Scythe is insane in the mirror match when you're going first, or against, like, pretty much every deck out there. And then Lancia is, like, for Flunderies, and this also covers evenly matched. So you do it on standby phase because you don't want to lose to, like, Prosperity, and then you kind of just win the game. So, yeah, Sanctum into Lancia is insane. And then finally, double Lightning Storm as well as the Duster. So this is how you are, I guess, kind of breaking boards in a way against the trap decks or Flunderies, because their monsters are always in attack position. So Lightning Storm is pretty nice, and Duster is like universally good against everything that just kind of has a lot of back row, like including Splight. And finally, the annoying cards that I wish didn't exist in this game. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck profile. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, very unfortunate that I went 9-2 just to not top the YCS. My heart is a little broken right now, but it is what it is. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.